Wells only and his guests are not responsible for any losses you may accrue for having weak hands. Where the haters at? Yeah, bitches still ain't showed up. And now, right, we got HEX, flawless uptime. People thought this was a joke. Now they're mad at the chart. It's lullaby music, really, right? It's hard to believe that something like this exists. I get it, but you just gotta come to terms with reality. It just exists. Nothing we can do about it. Buy a steak and chill, baby. Shout out to Marketable Thoughts. You can't get this kind of shit for free anywhere else. It's very important to understand that. We're handing it out. People thought this was a joke. Now they're mad at the chart. This is Whales Only. Glad you guys can make it out. I'm making some claims that are pretty outlandish, but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're going to pay the consequences for that. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. We're obliterating everybody. Literally. There is nobody else that comes close to what HEX has done. Boom. Oh, it's about to get funky. Funkier than you could have ever imagined. Richard Hart is a boss. HEX is literally the best thing on the planet. It's simple mathematics, right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. Yep. That's it. Yep. That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. I mean, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep, everybody. My God. Ex-Asians, bro. Everybody. Australians, man. Everybody gets me. Yo, Wendy's done told you. Dollar Club done told you. Everybody done told you. It's crazy. Well, it's probably a good thing that I added myself and I knew how, because StreamYard just said, nah, we're not going to do that today. But it's all good. I guess I pay for what I get. I don't know. Anyways, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's having a fantastic Wednesday or Thursday, depending wherever you are. It's been an interesting day. I hope you guys are watching the headlines. If not, all good, because we're going to go over them as I typically do. And we're going to pause for a moment just to announce that V4 is live. It is officially live. So if you are watching the stream right now and you are interested in knowing that, now you know, PulseChain testnet V4 is live. So what does that mean? Means a couple things. First thing is probably the last one. Second thing is we're not gonna really know whether this is the last one or not. All I do know is that we're not getting any warnings henceforth. So be ready to rock, because hard pressed to think there's gonna be any more V's after the fourth one. So something to think about. But shout out to you guys for joining me. And give me a second while I mute this freaking siren. Thank you for your patience. Okay, I think that's low enough because it's taking forever. All right. So V4 is live. Pulse chain is imminent. And the hex price is reflecting that because you got a whole bunch of bootleg traders in there that don't got a clue what they're doing. And it's reflected in the price. Very obvious. Uh, so, do with that what you will. But truth be told, if you have the ability, you should be taking advantage of the short-minded people, right? Those with a narrow view on time, can't comprehend what's actually going on. So we got to disregard them. Can't do much for them. Yeah. So shout out to you, Maury. Louis, what up? What up, Simon? My man Allen was good, brother. DJ and Dougie was good. What's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well. Hexy Quinn, how's it going, mom? Uh, yeah. So let's talk about this for a second. And shout out to you, Hexagon. I don't know if you guys remember, but right when testnet, like the first thing was launched, all the way back in 2021, Richard was being interviewed by, I think it was Wendy O. Okay. And he told her ass 2 whole weeks. The famous 2 whole weeks. Um, the next thing we knew, it was live. Same day. So, you know, do with that what you will. Like I said, he already let y'all know there's not going to be any more warnings. So, trade around if you like. Good luck with that. What up, homie? Sandy Beach, what's up? What's going on, Nick? Uh, uh, uh. I don't think he would even do that. I'm pretty sure we're just gonna get a tweet, and if he does live stream, then it's gonna be some pretty dramatic shit. So I don't know, right? Because I mean, he doesn't seem like the type of guy to do that type of shit. So I don't know. I don't know. You think July? I don't. I don't really know. I just know that when it comes, we're not gonna expect it. So if people are not thinking that far off, then maybe it's coming next month. Who knows? But be ready, and that's really all you can do. Come on, man, you're not coming up this block. All right, good job. So things to think about as you sit there waiting to become wealthy. You should be focusing on other stuff. What up, Captain? What up, Westcott? I bet you is, bro. They walking around New York all over the place. You don't even got to go that far. But I feel you. There's nothing like authentic cuisine. Yo, what is going on out here? It's like there's a fire right outside on my block. Hold on. Let me just make sure I don't got to do nothing crazy. What the hell is going on over there? Guess these guys is just doing a random 3-point turn. All right. Whatever you like there, fire truck. Um. So yeah, you know, uh, Pulse chain is imminent. I mean, as far as crypto goes, from a crypto to crypto point of view, right? Like crypto news, that's really the most important thing that's going on. Um, and that's pretty much it. Uh, I don't know if you guys saw a nice little chart that I posted today. Let me see if I can find that dang thing because it is definitely worth talking about. Oh, I can't see it here. Hold on. Let's get it poppin'. Yeah. Because, The problem with the world is honestly that people like narratives too much. And I don't really know if that makes sense to most people when I say that, because everything is basically a narrative, right? Um, but you got to kind of be able to discern, right, when it's bootleg, fugazi, meant to, make you think a certain way or feel a certain way, or whatever it's supposed to be. And the thing about it is it's like the whole Rona thing, because we're always going to rely on that moving forward. That's the damn case study on how to, for you as an individual, not be a dumbass. You know what I'm saying? Because yo, I could not for the life of me understand nothing. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Rona, speaking of Rona, did you catch how all of a sudden the FDA just randomly dropped all Rona stuff? Like all that stuff now, you can't even get the jab no more. And then to top it off, because it only gets better, of course. I mean, this is just beginning, right? I mean, you guys got to understand, this is just beginning. On top of them, oh, let me get this out the way. On top of them, um, what is it? On top of them, um, what was I even saying? Yes, Rona. Such a crock of shit. Oh man. So on top of them completely removing all Rona related jabs from being emergency authorized use approved, which was no approval in the first place. Um, Shorty go on ahead and lays it down. And by Shorty, I mean the head of the CDC, Rachel, whatever. She's getting interviewed somewhere, and she just randomly lets it out that, yeah, people with the jab, they spreading that shit. They spreading Rona, and they getting Rona from the jab. Dropping bombs on them. Dropping bombs on them, right? I mean, damn, I wish I was a little more production minded. That was a perfect moment to do a flex bomb. I mean, yo, all the shit people got banned for saying for 3 years, she randomly drops on the sly like it don't even matter. Oh, you gotta love it. Gotta love it. Because, at the end of the day, it just lends credence to people that have a brain. And, I don't gotta really be that explicit anymore. We all know what the hell I mean. You guys see how the country has devolved since the beginning of 2020, because these people were allowed to dictate terms to us. Clearly that shit's never gonna happen again, as you guys can tell. Anyways, ETH supply current. You know, for a long time, and excuse me while I get my J right. When they were running with this narrative about, ETH becoming deflationary, it was cute for a little bit, you know what I mean? Because the reality is the only reason it was deflationary was because people couldn't unstake, right? And then on top of that, they invoked whatever protocol, EIP, whatever number, I can't even remember anymore. Who cares? Uh, Over here, right, which is the burn, right? The burn function. Yeah, that's what it was. I just can't remember the fork, whichever fork it was. London, Berlin, Shanghai, fuck around, go to China. I don't fucking know. Thailand shit, Bangkok, pick one. I don't know. Whenever that one got instituted, right, the whole theory or narrative once again, surrounding this one, right, surrounding this here move was that the burn function to help fees become higher, of course. It's going to make ETH deflationary, thereby making the asset more valuable, blah, 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 blah. Well, how about that? Isn't it cute? It's cute, ain't it? Very cute. Man, like I say, folks, never ever go by what somebody says that has nothing, especially when it has nothing to do with the factual ongoings of the protocol. I mean, from a technical perspective, ETH is not meant to be deflationary. So the entire notion is asinine. It's already bad enough the network is expensive as it is. Why in the world would we do our best to ensure that it stays that way? And not only stays that way, but it becomes more expensive. Why do we want that? I don't get it. In fact, I know we don't want it. So, what is it that people forget from time to time? Well, what we forget from time to time is that Ethereum is co opted, right? It's not really crypto. It's important we remember that because we're out here doing our thing on that chain for now until PulseChain comes out. Because that's what we got to do. We don't really have much of a choice. That's what we're relegated to doing. So, with that being said, it's important that we understand the entire picture of what is going on with the fees because that is the highest friction point on this chain. Yeah, sure. The billionaires can give away, 4 or 5 figures for a transaction. Good for them. But guess how big of a part of the network they are? Exactly. Not enough for me to give a fuck. So, if the mass of volume can't move on that chain, what does that mean for prices? Well, what that means is that they're going to try to drum up that narrative once again about layer twos, right? And how, oh, you can do whatever you got to do on a layer two. Because, yeah, that's what crypto's about, layer twos. What? Like, isn't this just supposed to be a money system or something? Like, what's going on, right? I mean, let's get it together. Let's get this right. What's the story? You know. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the clips I was retweeting yesterday of the chairman of the SEC, Gensler, getting smoked by Congress. And I mean smoked. Look, I've been in front of those type of boards before. And I got to tell you guys, I've never performed that poorly. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was a 20-something-year-old kid. What the hell does a 20-something-year-old kid do? Whatever he's told. You don't really have a grasp of what you're doing, right? So, sitting in front of a panel of folks that are there to grill you and make you fumble the ball, because they're there to make you fumble the ball, and for you to continuously fumble it, no problem. I mean, that dude was giving it up. And he didn't give a rat's. You know, didn't care at all. He was just rambling on. Whatever works. He didn't care. Person did not care at all. They didn't care that they were clearly caught, exposed, put on Front Street, as we like to say. Didn't matter. I mean, look at his Twitter thread today. literally disregarding everything that happened yesterday. It's comical. And it's important for you to take note of that because that is in public record. Okay? This is evidence. This is how the world works, the world that we live in, anyway. That's how it works. So, yo, just a little sidebar because of the stuff I'm just seeing on scrolling by on Twitter. So, today, there was a car just like high speed chase through the city. I'm talking about Manhattan, not like, upstate or something. Like, you can't be doing that over here like that. Like, bad stuff is gonna happen because it's just lanes, single car, double car lane. Like, that's it. Unless you're riding up an avenue, that's really all it is. Um, so it's getting crazy out here. You know what I mean? You really gotta be live if you're gonna be in New York because right now, as I was going to work this morning, two dudes like was about to act like they was gonna fight, and they was right in front of me. So I'm just like, all right, well, let me put my shit away and get ready just in case I gotta do something. And then one dude just automatically runs off the train. I mean, dude was setting up square and everything. Like he was getting ready, looking like he was tightening up his shoes and shit. Door open, bang, he runs out. Everybody's like, what the fuck? It was hilarious, man. It was hilarious. But this is just what's going on over here. And if you're coming to New York, you got to be aware of that. Because if you're not from here, you liable to get caught up. Because it's back to you looking funny, you easy money. That's the kind of time we're on out here. So mind your little smile and tuck that shit back where it came from. Because that shit ain't rocking right now. Unless you're with a group, make sure you're with a bunch of people. If you're by yourself, be careful out there. Not for those that ain't from around the way. That's for sure. Let's see. We got some news. Let me read this and see if it's even worth talking about it. Oh, wow. Okay. Uh, this is kind of crazy. This apparently dropped a couple of hours ago. I mean, look, there's so much going on right now. I could literally stream every day, but this is literally too much. And I got to work. So sorry. But it's just so much going on. I really don't know if you guys are paying attention. It's crazy. So the latest IRS agent, and this is published in the New York Post now. Now you guys know that they're not funny money anymore. They're legit as it gets relative to what's out there. So let me read this headline. IRS agent who supervises Hunter Biden tax fraud case alleges, quote, preferential treatment and false testimony to Congress. Letter to Congress seeking whistleblower guidance doesn't name Hunter, but congressional aides confirmed. First reported by Wall Street Journal, now in the New York Post. So, when news like this drops, this is when you can expect the rhetoric against all things that are good for you to get louder, right? And this is what we see time and time again. Now we're really done talking about this nonsense because this is what that is. Because who cares, right? At the end of the day, it's funny, good for you, ETH. You do what you got to do. Enjoy your time while it lasts. At the end of the day, bro, you're getting replaced. And that's just what it boils down to. Oh, why am I looking for myself? Yeah, let's go through this guy first. Um, let's see here. These tweets are always interesting. I always thought it was common knowledge that politicians was doing this kind of stuff, but I guess it wasn't. And this is just another version of when you're too close to something. You really miss the forest for the trees. Everybody's guilty of it, and I'm not, inhuman clearly. So even I succumb to it. So I don't really want to go through stock stuff because there's some earnings stuff going on today. So I don't want to get caught up in that. Let's see. ESPN, Disney is falling apart though. Of course, a lot of these layoffs that these companies are doing are invoked, meaning they're doing it because they want to, not really because they have to. But they're falling apart nonetheless. Not what one thing they are doing that you're not going to see headlines on is that they're hiring a lot of whatever company can. They're hiring a lot of those H-1B visa folks, which is just another way for them to do the labor arb, right? Because as we all know, the cost of living, the cost of everything in the U.S. is high, and of course, companies are going to try to find ways to cut costs as best as they can, and that's going to mean your salary. Whatever it is. If it's one of those companies where they're going to do that, they're going to do that, and that's what we're seeing a lot of nowadays. But at the same time, some companies are hiking dividends. It just depends how books are being managed ultimately, and the kind of organization you work for if you're still employed. And of course, that matters to people that get bonuses and stuff like that. And that type of stuff doesn't just happen on Wall Street, right? That happens everywhere. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Steven. I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for showing up. I mean, right now, there's 90 of you guys watching on a Wednesday evening, like you ain't got nothing better to do. But we're talking about what's happening. A lot of people don't care. Some people do. Some people don't even know this is. Some people probably don't even know this is going on right now because this was kind of last minute. But I figured, with what's going on, I'm not even at the main topic yet. That's the thing. So the main topic is honestly what's going on with CBDCs and what's going on with crypto in the real world, because now we're really seeing that gap that existed collapse day by day, and the more that collapses, the realer our reality becomes. However, you got to understand that crypto is going to be allowed, at least in my opinion. This is all my opinion now. Crypto is going to be allowed to permeate just like all other money, except for that I believe we're going to have actual money as well as crypto. But that's not to say that we're not going to see crazy prices in crypto anymore, because unless they do it right, it's really hard to say. But it's a lot of rumblings going on that there is talks of a potential return to gold back US dollar. I don't know how viable that is at all. But in the meantime, it doesn't matter, because until that actually changes, nothing's changed. You know. And that's important to understand, because we gotta focus on now and the worst case outcome. Because anything better, we win regardless. Imagine a world where you don't even need crypto. I'm all for that too. Because again, I understand the problem, right? Ultimately, our goal should be as a society to get rid of money. Money is not something that's beneficial unless people are taught precisely how to use it, what it's for, what its benefits are, etc., etc. However, if we were to comprehend humans and how they function, we would clearly understand that the use of money is futile. This is why we get so many perverse actions in society by people. Nobody robs and steals because that's something to do. It's because they have to in most cases. I mean, that's the highest rate of incidences as to why people rob and steal. It's not because it's Wednesday and it's some, oh shit, it's 7 o'clock. Let me go rob something. Like, no, that's not why people rob and steal. So, these are things you gotta realize that as you do your analysis in life, because everything in life is analysis. Let's see what's going on here. The U.S. Supreme Court has extended the temporary block of lower court restrictions on the abortion bill Mifepristone. I don't even know if I said that right. Allowing access to the okay, that's a medical joint. Okay, that's a medicine of some sort. I guess that this is some type of pill that you know Plan B or whatever they call them. Oh yeah, in case you missed it, this is supposedly the money they made in 2022 But yet there's all this evidence out there floating around that they're making way more than that. And of course, in 7 to 8 millions and whatnot. Wow, interesting. New cars are selling below sticker price for the first time in 20 months. As of March, U.S. car dealerships had approximately 2 million new vehicles in their inventories, approaching levels seen before the pandemic, excuse me. With the increases in inventory, dealers have started offering discounts to buyers. Interesting. So if you're in the market for a car, important information to have. Let's see what's going on. Home prices, whatever. All right, this is almost over here. So we'll go to the other one. What's the other one? Wales, what? What's the other one? I can't remember the name of the other one. Hold on, I gotta find the name of the other one. What's the name of the other one? Sorry, guys. I just gotta find this because this is where we're gonna go to anyway to get to the topic, the main topic of this stream anyway. Um, and while we're waiting on me to find this damn handle, I just want to stress again the importance of having a DCA strategy. Ah, Watcher.guru, thank you. Freaking name. Um, it's important that you guys keep in mind your DCA strategy, right? Because opportunities are always going to present themselves no matter how high the price goes. So you should always be ready to add T shares to your bag because that's important. That's the only way to beat inflation. And that's the strategy you should be deploying until further notice. Because that's the current economic system we live in. I mean, we don't live in any other system. So until that changes, there's nothing else to do. Because that is how you're going to find success. This is how people have retired already, right? And retirement is just another way of saying you don't got to deal with the money system. FYI. So these are things to think about because these are the ways you got to view these things. Because this is a game, right? I mean, we know this is a game. And if you're playing their game the way they want you to play, you're going to lose. And it looks like, yeah, we're done. Of course, 70% of Americans are feeling financially stressed. It's probably like 90. But whatever. And almost half opposite sex married. What? Uh, in U.S., women now earn these. Okay, well, yeah, they should. They out here working. I don't understand why that's even a headline. If females out here working, I don't understand why they wouldn't be getting paid almost, or if not as much as men, or more. I don't get the logic. I really don't get the logic. It's so fucking asinine. Look, I grew up in a house full of women, so I don't have this warped view that society has, where women are these like delicate fucking things. Or well, all right, let me rephrase. Let me start over. I don't have this warped view of women being inferior to men because they're women and they're not as strong as men or whatever. I don't know. Whatever that sexist point of view is, I don't know it. I don't have it. I don't know how to espouse it. Uh, so yeah, the fact that women don't even get paid the same is weird, especially if they're doing the same job. So it's just another form of manipulation, and this is, I mean, look at what the feminist movement has turned into. Need I say more? Yeah, let's move on. The Fed official says inflation won't return to 2% for at least 2 years. Yeah, excuse me, guys. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but recently I've been highlighting a lot of what they've been saying, right? And it's more so for you to understand that they're just letting it out, right? Like they're now saying things I've been saying for years, right? And that's the important thing behind seeing tweets like that, because at the end of the day, what's actually happening? The currency has been printed into oblivion, right? And the printing was so egregious that no matter what's done now, it can't be taken back. And they know that they've been caught with their pants down at this point in time. So they're relinquishing now all information because they understand they can't hide it. It's too bad. When in the US prices move like you're in a third world country, it's game over. I just seen this. That's funny. You ridiculous, bro. Oh, look at that. So Tesla was lying. Good for them. At least they were smart. Elon Musk said, "Oh yeah, I saw that. That's funny. This is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be something to watch." Elon Musk says Microsoft illegally trained their AI using Twitter data, threatens to sue. I don't know exactly how that works. I'm guessing it's IP related, but we'll be watching. House Republicans propose raising debt limit by 1.5 trillion, or extending it until March 2024. All right, let's talk about this debt ceiling scenario. And let me get a sip of water while we do that. All right, guys. What exactly is going on now? Okay. So now the House and the Senate are both controlled by the Republicans, quote unquote, right? But the way I would need you to think about it is by understanding that the enemy isn't controlling the House or the Senate. Because that's ultimately what's true. Okay. This is why we're now seeing so many things take action, take place, all of a sudden get actuated, right? Because I talked about a lot of things just sitting there waiting for a long time. And people wouldn't believe that I would tell them you gotta understand there's a process behind all this stuff. It doesn't just happen because we wanted to. And now we're at the point in time where everything is set up for action. And that's what we're seeing. They're doing investigations, they're doing this, they're doing that. And the funny thing is that all the inflammatory stuff we're hearing is nothing. That's not even the good stuff. That's the shit that's on the surface. This is what I need you guys to understand. This is just getting started. So this debt limit scenario is something that the enemy has at their disposal to try to invoke some type of market reaction. Because if the US defaults, is seen as defaulting by any entity such that others latch on to that default status, there's no telling what could happen to our economy because our economy is very non domestic driven, meaning the majority of our capital flows are from the offshore. And let me tell you, I work in a segment of the international money market, and not in the way that you think of it if you are actually in the business of capital markets, but in international money movement. How about that? That's really a better explanation or a better descriptor. And the reason I mention that is because I get to see a lot of the capital that flows just through the bank at which I work. And the bank at which I work is the leading one in the arena in which I operate. And that essentially includes Latin America, Europe, Middle East, some Asian regions. China is a big one. Taiwan's another big one where we do a lot of business. Um, I mean, there's not a lot of areas we don't cover. I mean, Latin America as a whole covered, period. Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, whatever, is just all covered. All these money flows are covered. Canada, you name it, it's covered. Mexico, whatever, covered. Even my country covered. It just doesn't matter. And the reason to understand this is because what happens when the U.S. shuts its doors to offshore capital, or even worse, Offshore capital decides to say, no, thank you, no more, US. We're done playing your fake money game. What happens if that happens? What are we going to do? Because we have no control over that. That's not ours. We just use it thinking it's ours. And that's the danger. This is why it's a tool for them. They understand that. Anybody involved in markets understands that that's a thing. I mean, this is critical. Now we're at the main junction of today's stream. Now, it's one thing for a headline like this to come out and for us to be able to dismiss it, you know. I think that the fact that these headlines are timed for the same day. I mean, Russia was 100% anti-crypto. Period. No discussion. Hong Kong, they were cursing it last week. I don't know what happened. That's exactly why I tweeted, what the hell? Like, they were cursing the hell out of it not long ago. Right? So something is changing. Something is changing such that these jurisdictions are now finding it worthy or viable to allow Bitcoin to be, or not Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency, which is unique. Because typically what we hear over here in the West is, oh, Bitcoin and crypto. Because these morons can't get it straight. They can't get it straight. Or maybe they don't want to. I don't know. Whatever. But over here, where the majority of trade happens, they're putting cryptocurrencies. Now, in Russia, the headline goes, Russia is reportedly developing a special instruction to mine and transfer crypto for the purposes of international trade. Check. Second headline, Hong Kong court recognizes cryptocurrency as property. How about that? Oof. Let me read this headline or subheadline. A Hong Kong court has recognized cryptocurrencies as property in a landmark ruling stating that they can be held on trust. Incredible. Now, what's incredible about that? Because, we see things passed all the time. But the thing about it is that in this instance, it's not something that can just be glossed over. And that's important to understand because this is called a precedent that's being set in two different jurisdictions, not just one. And the thing about it is that in many other jurisdictions, as we've talked about before, this is already a thing. The importance and the significance behind this is the fact of the jurisdictions doing it. I mean, India's next, right? I mean, what the hell? China's next. I don't know. But this is unheard of. Not anything I expected in my lifetime. So these are things you gotta realize are critical, especially for our space. Because for now, this type of stuff really, really matters. It makes or breaks people's perception of what's going on. Now let's go back. I mean, that's really the most important thing, right? Because precedent is everything in law, right? And if we're going to pretend to live based on that, then that matters. Not people being nice. None of that shit matters, but law matters. Because if you can't delineate what's right from what's wrong and a legal claim from a non-legal, from no claim, then what are we doing? I have no interest in faking anything. So what the hell are we doing? Right? And clearly that we're not doing none of that shit. So let's take a listen to this. U.S. Congressman introduces bill to restructure the SEC and fire Gary Gensler. This is from yesterday. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the clips I posted, but man, we're sure as hell going to watch them. I don't think you guys can hear it though. Let me know if you can hear it or not. I'm gonna play a little bit. Let me know if you hear it. Protect investors and abuses of power make it clear that we need to restructure the Securities and Exchange Commission. The failures are many, but let me cite some of the abuses. You average more than 2 rules proposals a month. You inappropriately provide inappropriately short comment periods. Did not think so. I will fix that. Oh. Why is it not? Okay, I guess I gotta do it this way. Let me see. Chrome tab? No. Screen. Okay, let's go with this. Alright.
You have unworkable and unlawful ESG disclosure mandates on the market. Chairman Gensler, your record of failures to protect investors and abuses of power make it that we need to restructure the Securities and Exchange Commission. The failures are many, but let me cite some of the abuses. You average more than 2 rules proposals a month. You inappropriately provide inappropriately short comment periods. You have unworkable and unlawful ESG disclosure mandates on the market. You have essentially a Hotel California rule for crypto where you can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. You have endless discovery with no resolution and no clarity for the captives in the market. You have unworkable proposals for overhauling equity market structure, a de facto ban on crypto through proposed custody rule. You have high staff turnover, unhappy people leaving your office, and unhappy companies and capital leaving our country. To correct a long series of abuses, I'm introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission and replaces the role with an executive director that reports to the board where all authority would reside. Former chairs of the SEC will be ineligible under my proposed bill. And this isn't just my take. It resonates across the political spectrum. The American people want democratic access to capital, retail investor participation. You can't just exclude retail investors from markets and claim it's for their own good. Our markets need to function and flourish, and I yield back.
All right. So you guys heard it there first, if you didn't hear it yesterday. And that's exactly what the gentleman's been doing. I mean, there's not really much I can add to that. Let's watch this exchange.
And if there's a group of
I'm asking you about the facts in the law. Is Ether a commodity?
Now, this one's, I want you guys to pay attention to this one, because what this gentleman states is the same stuff I state, you know, because this is just how it works. And this guy is literally a lawmaker. Pay attention.
Or security?
And again, it depends on the facts in the law. And if there's a group of
about the facts in the law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm.
But you have prejudged on this. You've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is the security in your view, in your agency's view. I'm asking you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. What is your view?
The view is if there's a group of individuals in the middle that the public is.
All right. So let me just ask a second question. Do you think it serves the market for an object to be viewed by the commodities regulator as a commodity and the securities regulator to be viewed as a security? Do you think that provides safety and soundness for the product? Do you think it provides consumer protection? Do you think it serves the value of innovation? I think no should be a very simple answer for you here.
I think
that uncertainty is bad, is it not?
And I think that Congress has said that there's one agency, the Securities and Exchange Commission, under this committee.
And you won't answer my question, and you're the head of that agency. So give me a break. Come on.
I'm answering it in generic because you would not want me to speak about any one set of facts and circumstance.
Okay, so, but you've already spoken. Have you said anything about Bitcoin?
My predecessors and the agency itself has spoken to them.
Okay, but you're not willing to do the same about Ether. Okay, so let me just step back. there's a lack of clarity here in the marketplace. Can you at least agree to that?
I think that the clarity is there. The law is clear.
All right.
There's a
So
group
let
of
me
individuals who
be explicit about this. The market doesn't see it. Your regulatory actions and the CFTC's regulatory actions say that there's a great deal of uncertainty here. It is the intention of this committee to fix that uncertainty and actually provide a sound legal basis for this.
So this wasn't the clip I was hoping that the guy was gonna watch, but I'm sure it's coming up. We're gonna find it, because these are things that as a community we have to be aware of, especially if we're gonna pretend to be involved in this space. And I mean that in the most demeaning way possible, because pretending to want to be a billionaire and a millionaire is demeaning for you, because all you're doing is wasting your time, wasting your money, and you could be happy doing something else. So it is literally demeaning for you. So I'm not just saying it to be a dick. It's really not good for you. So think about that. Think about your why, as we always like to talk about, because that's really an important thing. You got to understand why you're here. Why are you taking the time to watch this stream? You know, that's important, folks. Don't watch me just because you think I need views. It's not that serious. I'm hoping you take this information and change your life with it, because that is exactly what it's about. White House says there's evidence that China wants to weaken the U.S. dollar. Oh, 3 years after they printed 40% of all existing currency units. Cool. Good for you guys. All right, let's see about this one.
Failed. You saw this, the biggest, Silicon Valley Bank. Actually, when it failed, you saw this country's, the world's second leading stable coin, had $3 billion involved there, DPEG. So it's interesting just how this was all had some crypto narrative as well.
And my time is up. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The biggest.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that was that little loan.
You saw this.
His lone bootleg win that was destroyed today, and there's a clip for that. I'm sure I'll find it later on. Let's see here. Yeah, this is funny. If you guys don't play with ChatGPT, you should. It's a pretty cool tool. If you know how to use it. If you don't, figure it out, because it's useful. But understand the limitations of the tool, because just like every tool, it has limitations as well. Let's see here. Treasury Secretary Yellen says economic sanctions on Russia and other countries put U.S. dollars dominance at risk. Oh, they just noticed. Wow. Congratulations. This is from yesterday. So I'm not seeing what I thought I was gonna see. So let's go back up to the top. Oh, no. Nice try though, motherfucker. All right, let's go back. Let's see. Yeah, all right, that's it. Breaking news. Financial juice. This will be the last one, then we'll wrap it up. This is more of a news update than anything else. I'll update the charts later. The data ain't ready yet anyway. And throw that stuff your guys' way. So let's see what they're saying now. And this financial juice. If you don't follow them on Twitter, you should if you want to follow like market news. Because this stuff is the type of stuff you should be following if you're interested in that side of the market anyway. Go trade. So what's going on is that this guy is just trying to talk up the dollar, but it's already too late, bro. So you can just stop wasting your time. So yeah, I expect a gradual rise in unemployment. So hope that Congress will address the debt ceiling soon. I'm sure how much debt conditions will tighten. So screw this guy. Let's go find some real headlines. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have been watching this, but Lula, president of Brazil, I don't know if this guy's a sleeper or what, but he sure as hell is seeming like one lately. Not sure what to make of it, but I'm watching closely. So this is not the beginning. This is the latest. Lula came to a decision which will. So Brazil's president Lula came to a decision which will accelerate plans to move Latin America's largest economy even closer to China, and he doesn't care if this upsets the U.S. Quote from sources. This is from sources familiar with the matter. Oh man, this is gonna get so funny. Oh, look at this one. Feds Williams states it will take time for Fed's initiatives to reduce inflation. How about that? Good for you, buddy. How about that? Where am I? Oh, my bad. Thought I was looking at this shit in order, but I sure as hell was not. That's a boomer moment right there. My bad, guys. Let's see. Oh, Feds Williams, nothing important there. Just a bunch of lies, as always. Doo-doo-doo. Let's see here. Earnings. So, okay. What's going on here and why does this matter? This is essentially the Treasury's account. And if you'll notice, it grew, hope, whoops, 110 billion in one day. Now, what day was that? Tax day. So now you know why. Good job paying them. On Tuesday, it was down. Or what? Wait, what? Nah, this is the updated figures, I guess. Let's see here. Keep on going. U.S. non-withheld. Non-withheld. I'm trying to remember what this means. I think that means that that's what they took from people that didn't pay. I think. I would have to look it up. I don't feel like doing that right now. Let's see. I'm trying to find some good headlines. I know they're in here. Beige book. Yeah, I don't want to get into this. This is just a bunch of nonsense, right? So what's going on right now? Well, the market is finally coming to terms with the fact that, let's go here. Let's look at rates. So as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the market is really coming to terms with the fact that rates are going to go higher. Now, this is 30-year yields, okay? This is the longest end of the curve, right? We want to look at 1 year. Let's see what the 1 year is doing. Same deal. Looking like it's recoiling for a move higher. I'd be hard pressed to think this is going to actually roll over. For it to roll over, I mean, we're probably going to see a recession for real. And this is a 3-day chart right here in the upper right. This is the daily. Let me get rid of the moving averages so it looks somewhat normal. And there you go. But, all in all, the trend is bullish still on each time frame, except for maybe this 5-day. But everything else is bullish, man. Yeah, the 5-day is the only one that's bearish. So if we break 5% on the 1 year, you know what that means. Game over. So things to keep in mind. Because at the end of the day, it's like we talked about a long time ago. Rates drives everything. That's the cost of capital. That's what everything turns around on. And right now, if you look at the commercial real estate market, people are finally realizing what's about to happen over there. And it's not going to be something positive, unfortunately. So, you got a lot of people are going to get caught slipping in the liquid assets on that side of things, unfortunately. And that's just how that cookie crumbles. Because, if you don't do good math, that's typically the end result. And, while it might only happen once in a blue, you got to understand the environment you're in so you don't get caught slipping and it doesn't happen to you. And this is kind of what's happened to people in a lot of ways in the past 20 years. Because I remember when I was in college and this housing stuff was happening, it was unfathomable. Seriously, very unfathomable that people could not wrap their head around housing going down in value. It had never happened before. So why would it happen now? But that showed people how wrong they could be, right? Because a lot of people were wrong. So these are the kinds of things that happen from time to time. It's important to be aware, so that way you don't get caught slipping, right? Because this cost of capital from 30 years all the way down to 1 seems to be trending higher. What is the Fed funds doing? Shit is already at 4.65, and we remember that was down over here back in 2021. So let's look at the spreads just to get an idea of how severe offsides things are. 30-year minus 10-year. So we're looking at the difference in the cost of borrowing between these 2 points in time, 10-year and a 30-year. Now, you would assume that it would cost you more to borrow for a a longer period of time, right? Because they don't know how you're going to pay them back, or it's just a longer period of time. So there's more risk involved just based on that from a creditor perspective. So right now it's almost equivalent to borrow at those 2 points in time, and for a little while it costs you less to borrow at 30 years or at 10 years versus the 30-year. And that's not how it's supposed to work at all, right? If we look at it right now, 10 years 3.6 and 30 years 3.8. And what do we see? 20 bips, 20 basis point difference, positive, right? That's how it's supposed to be, positive at least. However, should they be this close? Nah, probably not, right? Because if we look up here, what do we see? February 2021, January 2021, the spread was high, right? Now, what we're going to do is go look at S&P futures February 2021, January 2021 for comparison purposes. Let's see what we got. Oh, look, market's ripping. How about that? Would have never guessed. No issues whatsoever. Huh. What are bonds doing at that time? Let's look. Oh, they're selling off. How about that? Well, there's your answer in short, right? This trend is going to continue lower because this is exactly what we're seeing here. And I was bullish for a while, but it is what it is. Market tells you what it's actually going to do. Your opinion is irrelevant. And that's something that we got to remember as individuals, because that's how it works. Not how we want it to work, but how it actually works. Right? So this looks like a good point to short, actually. Huh. S&Ps too. Well, I'll be shorting these bad boys, that's for sure. I don't know about shorting the 10-year though, or the 30-year. We'll see about that. But definitely gonna get short this shit. But yeah. So clearly the market, while it ran up last time, doesn't seem like it's gonna run up this time. And I was bullish the market too, but it seems like it's ready for a pullback. Because if you look at this 8-day chart, let's cycle out of that bad boy. All right, looks like we're getting an exhaustive move back. Because again, each candle is 8 bars. You got to see some serious volume come in, right, for that thing to get whipping. And what we've been seeing is a decrease in volume. So it makes sense to a certain extent, right? That's not going to always be the case. But it's the case this time, and it really does seem like it's just a pullback. So it's just going to be a buying opportunity for people that trade a little long term. However, in the interim, this thing moving down. So that's just what's going on. And this is the 5-day point of view. And if you can look at it, right, all of the lines, the red one, the yellow one, and the green one, right, they've prices flipped them all. And that typically means that you're just going to get one final pullback right to here, this area. For those that love TA, here's some pro level TA for you. If you look at how the market has made one low, made a new low, and then reversed. Now this is the shakeout low. This is how you know the market's done. Right now, of course, this is 5 days per candle. So this is an obvious. Right, on a 5-day basis. I mean, if you look at this on a day-to-day, October, right, through, was that the 12th? Yeah, the 12th through the 19th of October. It's going to look crazy on them 5 days because that thing probably whipsaw something serious. But here, it looks just like a bottom. And that's just what it looks like. And what happened? Well, made a new low, higher low, right? Treated that old resistance as support, cleared it all out. Same thing happened right over here. Right? And the same thing happened. Guess where? Right over here. So, odds are, same thing's going to happen right over here. And then market's probably going to take off with some strength because now it's above all these moving averages. Now it's be ready to go because it's cleared out all of that. Right? And we see it do from time to time. Right? Cleared out all these moving averages over here, but it slugged around until it did. And then it finally took off. So it's probably doing something similar this time around. All right, I didn't want to get too into that. Sorry. But there's just all these things that are going on. They really get confusing because you don't expect, if the world is falling apart, for the market to go up. So why is the market going up? Right. Ultimately, that's based on the value of the currency and how people perceive it. People are finding safety in stocks versus the dollar. That's ultimately what it's boiling down to. And as of right now, it looks like the dollar's actually bottoming out. So, that's just something to be aware of. It's probably just a pullback anyway, because we all know that this is bearish. Let's get out of that. Go on an 8-day. Yeah, that trend is bearish. So if it does pull back, it's probably just going to pull back to this moving average and just roll back over. Somewhere in this area, depending on what the profile look like. But we got time to look at that, right? I mean, this is 8 days per candle. So we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, main thing is for you guys to be aware of what's happening in the crypto realm and understanding that the legacy markets are falling apart, in ways that we just can't even comprehend what the repercussions are going to be of yet. There's a lot of supply side destruction that we're seeing, and that's going to continue to press on prices, along with the fact that we have a currency that's just getting slaughtered in all fronts. And then on top of that, offshore folks are saying we're done. So it's a lot of things that are just adding up and not looking great for the USD. And that's ultimately, what's going on. That's important for you to really be able to wrap your head around. And that's really it for the night, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate your time and your attention. And catch you on the next one. Peace. right? The reality is that I want to be rich. There's only one way to be rich. That's by sitting on your ass. The longest. That's it. That's the secret. The God will Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. These motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Trust
that.
us. 100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. I mean, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep. Everybody. My God. Ex-Asians, bro. Everybody. Australians, man. Everybody gets me. Yo,